Hello, everyone. So, welcome to another Author Live Chat with Fans series. And today is May 9th, 8 p.m. CST, the Sunday series, which is dedicated for nonfiction books. And today we have author Ridhima with us from Hyderabad, India. And so, a little bit about herself. From the outset, Ridhima is a passionate author inspired by the amazing works of Gaur Gopal, Sahla Parveen, J.K. Rowling, Tim Tamashiro. Ridhima is a 16-year-old author who just completed a birthday a week back, and she published a book when she was just 15 years old. She's from Hyderabad and she completed schooling at Tejasvi Vidyaranya, a very prestigious school in Hyderabad. She's now going to pursue her 11th grade very soon, and she aspires to be an astronomer or a genetic engineer in the future. But whatever she does, she is determined to play an active role in helping the society. So, guys, without further ado, let's welcome Ridhima to the show. And I believe that we will be learning a lot of things from Ridhima and why she wrote what she wrote, the book about depression and anxiety. So let's welcome Ridhima. Ridhima, hello. Welcome to the show. Hello, Ridhima. It's a pleasure to have you here on this show, and I think you are probably the youngest writer ever who has, joined my interview session. But I think it is really crucial to have you here with us to talk about something that's really, really important. That I see that you have done a very good job in that. And so before we deep dive into your book, could you actually let us know a little bit by yourself? Maybe the audience who are watching right now, those who are watching later on, a little bit by yourself.
Hello there, I'm Ridhima from Hyderabad, India, author of Metamorphosis from Anxiety and Depression to Being Happy. So I published this book as a 15-year-old, and I recently completed my 10th grade and looking forward to start my 11th very soon. So I'm always eager to learn new things, and this lockdown has given a lot of free time to everyone. And then this free time had allowed me to write my book, research about it, and learn a lot of new things.
Right. So you self-published the book, or is it like traditionally published?
It's like self-published using Amazon.
You self-publish using Amazon. So now, your book is about metamorphosis from anxiety and depression to being happy, and this is particularly related to the a pandemic, right? I mean, you wrote this during the pandemic, and tell us a little bit about where you got the inspiration to write this book, and a little bit about the background.
Right. So this book actually started. There was this one time I was reading a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and at the end of the book there was a link to the mailing list of Robert Kiyosaki, and so I subscribed to it, and then I started receiving few promotional emails, and one of them actually talked about how to write a book and publish it in 90 days. So I was like, why not give it a shot? And then in that webinar, we are given an assignment to shortlist your ideas and create a brief mind map. And then when I was shortlisting my ideas, this idea stuck me. So that later on, I spoke to one of the mentors in that of the webinar, and we worked on it, conduct an online survey, or to get a better idea of what is going to be in the book and all. So now in 45 days, I could publish my book.
So you published the book in 90 days. So that's like 3 months. And how long did you take to draft the idea of the book, and the actual process of writing it? How long did you actually take?
The process of writing it, the first draft was done in like 2-3 weeks. And then later on, I took a break of 1 week so that my mind was refreshed with some new thoughts and all. And then again came back to it like draft finalizing my content. Then I sent the draft to few people to get like suggestions. And after that, in a week or so, like my content was done. So
Hmm.
total took like 45 days.
Wow. Okay, that's like pretty fast, actually, I would say. So, writing about anxiety and depression. So, what encouraged you, and why do you think it affects young people?
Right. Mental health illness is also common as in young people as in adults, but no one talks about it. And
Mm-hmm.
I personally suffer from this low self-esteem, anxiety, depression. So I felt the need for a book which suggests how to come out of depression or how to cure anxiety for young people, which is not written by most of the authors.
Mm-hmm.
The content is actually based on my personal experience. Like I used to suffer from low self-esteem till recent years. Often used to feel inadequate or just not confident enough. I
Mm-hmm.
overcame it with the help of like TED Talks and some mental health exercises found in social media, but it was difficult. And then about depression, I guess loneliness fostered into depression. It's not like I didn't have any friends, but no one seemed to be attached to me emotionally, especially
Mm-hmm.
due to COVID times. Staying at home without any social connection really made it worse.
Mm-hmm.
All the tiny feelings used to get accumulated in me and emotionally drained.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then I had another friend who actually suffered severe depression and even considered suicide at a point.
Mm-hmm.
And then this ongoing pandemic already added a lot of stress to our daily lives. And when similarly, when other chapters were based on my personal experience and things are picked up from my family members and my close friends.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that like in today's generation, the cases of depression and anxiety are constantly rising, and suicide rates are also very alarming. Every one in three people had actually suffered from depression in their lives. And the online survey which we talked about, that proved it. Like in that, 75% of the people who took the survey are actually said that they went into depression, and 1/3 of the people said that they have considered suicide at a point in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to stand up for everyone, like people who left their mental illness uncured due to the social stigma that, especially in Asian
Mm-hmm.
countries, or as I know in India, whenever someone suffers from mental illness, they're treated like some freaks, and no one seems
Mm-hmm.
to care about mental health at all. It is necessary for people to realize that mental health is equally necessary as physical health, and going to therapy is same as seeing a doctor for your physical diseases.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah,
So we have a question here from Numan. He said hello, and he has asked, like, what causes someone to be abusive.
abusive. Um, right. So if someone is doing performing better than them, like they get kind of jealousy or envy that
Mm-hmm.
makes them being abusive, or else like the guilt in them, in the due to the past mistakes or something like that, can make people
Mm-hmm.
abusive.
Right. So I think, I mean, what causes people to be abusive? I think there are a host of reasons why people actually can be abusive. But I think, you know, I do think that abusive nature has something very deeply rooted in themselves. Like, the cause is there, is from the time that they were young, and due to low self-esteem, due to their own personal struggles. That's how, then that's why they are projecting it out as, the kind of power struggle that they have. Like, it makes them feel good to be abusive because it gives them a sense of power. It gives them control over somebody else's life. The control, the lack of authority that they had, they did not have towards their own life. is what they are trying to gain by being abusive, by trying to control some other people, right? So also further to that, he has asked, like, can childhood trauma cause abuse? What do you think, Rhythm?
Certainly, childhood trauma actually plays a key role in anyone who's abusive. It's like
Mm-hmm.
no one is born bad. The things they go through, the struggles in their childhood make them bad. Childhood
Mm-hmm.
trauma definitely plays a key role in abusing people.
Mm-hmm. Right. So yeah, I think that childhood trauma. I mean, when we are talking about childhood trauma, um, it does definitely contribute a lot of abusive nature in a person, and I think it takes a therapist, like you said, it takes a therapist to work through a lot of issues that people are facing, especially the abuser is facing. But it also takes not just therapists, but the willingness to come out of that, to identify the root cause, why it's happening, and for the person to have the willpower to come out of it, not just because he or she is being forced to go to a therapist. Even if you go to a therapist, if you're not ready to bring about change, if you are going to be still dependent on a therapist, it's not going to be a full recovery kind of a thing. So it has to be that person who decides, like, I have to change. If not, and not anything is, nothing is going to like change, right? So
Yeah,
I think definitely, I think thank you for that amazing question. um, Fantastic answer, thank you so much. And so yeah, so is being abusive a choice? I think if one, I think if the abuser realizes that it is wrong, but he's still doing it and he's not helping himself, it is still a choice. I think, you
it's
have a choice.
definitely
It's not like, you don't know that you are being abusive. You know that it's just like drug abuse. Like, you are not supposed to do that, and you know that you need help. You are finding it so difficult to break that chain that is, holding you tight to that abusive nature. But if you don't do anything about it, right? So if you don't help yourself, I think nothing is just going to be getting better. So I think if the question is abuse a choice, I would definitely say
definitely
it
itself.
is a choice if you know that you are doing it wrong and you're not doing anything about it, if you're not changing anything about it. So yeah. And I think Ridhima, talking about childhood depression, anxiety among children, among young adults, among teenagers like yourself, right? So, why do you think that, what is the main reason that, causes anxiety or depression among young adults?
Yeah. Um, During like the teenage time, the basic thing is like they feel that no one understands them, no? The parents
Mm-hmm.
or the parents seem like they always care about the career, or they try to be strict
Okay.
so they don't get in the wrong path. That actually makes them feel insecure about themselves. And then
Mm-hmm.
school or whatever, like, with the teenagers, there is
Mm-hmm.
always constant struggle to fit in with the people around them. So these
Mm-hmm.
all make them insecure about themselves and feel bad about themselves, which even loneliness, which eventually develops into loneliness or anxiety, which will further lead to depression if it isn't cured at the first initial stages.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. So, career. I mean, in terms of, I think school, and a lot of school going childrens are like being separated from their school friends, and they're not able to see the teachers and things like that. So um and yeah, I think to make it even worse, if let's say families are actually going through difficult times in terms of financial issues during this pandemic, I think it would would definitely hit the children really hard. So
Right.
what are some of the symptoms that maybe children or even teenagers tend to show nowadays, that adults are not being aware of? What do you think?
Right. Or you mean particularly depression side?
Yes, like what are the symptoms? Like what are the things that adults
So,
should be
right.
aware of
Tend to
to
isolate themselves. So they tend to isolate themselves from all the people so that no, they don't need to suffer from any taunts. And
uh-huh.
then a negative cognitive behavior, like they say like everything sucks or everything is
Mm,
my fault, something like that. And
mm-hmm,
even yeah, negative cognitive styles are like the most no evident behavior.
mm-hmm. Right. So now a road to recovery, because the book that you wrote, I think I would like to share here. From anxiety and depression to being happy, right? So uh, tell us a little bit about this book. Like what is it? You said that this is actually a mini self help book. And so do you actually like provide a guide, like step by step, kind of like a guide to find happiness again, and how you yourself, like you overcome it, and you manage to find peace finally?
Yes, so this book, as it is called, Less from Anxiety and Depression to Being Happy, it is divided into like seven, like 8 chapters, in which
Mm-hmm.
first chapter talks about low self-esteem, and
Mm-hmm.
that uh, first we talk about like what are the symptoms, and second, how can we cure it? Like we give like
Mm-hmm.
multiple options so that they have a like wide range of options which is suitable to them. They can choose that solution. And then secondly, in depression, first big depression are actually provided like step by step, like what to do first, and then how can you control your lifestyle? How can you become healthy by improving your lifestyle and cure depression? So these are
Mm-hmm.
we talked about like more like healthy living, healthy lifestyle, and even more related to hormonal imbalances. And no,
Mm-hmm.
dep- uh, depression or anxiety, anything is related to hormones. So we talked about improving the hormonal balance to come out of depression using healthy lifestyle. That is how we discussed about. In the first
Mm-hmm.
three chapters talk about like anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, and then we gradually shift towards improving the positiveness, improving happiness in your life, and then
Mm-hmm.
how and that also has subdivisions like how to live healthy lifestyle, how to be more grateful in life, and we have given some examples. One of them is of Sam Burns. The guy, he suffers from
Mm-hmm.
progeria, which is a disease which doesn't allow people to live more than like 15 years. But
Mm-hmm.
there's a talk of him, like he talks about why he stays happy, even though he knows like his life doesn't have that much greatness, or he couldn't achieve that much happiness that teenagers or anyone else achieves. So we that these kind of examples which can make them mentally realize what are they doing and then
Mm-hmm.
later get.
Right. So we have a comment from Norman saying that children do not get the validation and empathy at home, and they seek it elsewhere, maybe in drugs, committing crime, self-harming. Yeah, I do agree. I think especially now during COVID-19, right? I think a lot of issues are becoming even worse. I mean, those are the issues that we have always had in life. I think I mean, parents being busy and children coming home to an empty house. All these have been happening, but I think this pandemic has just made it even worse. For parents, and BJ says that he hates COVID-19. Yeah, I think a lot of people are just affected by this. A lot of people are just affected by this pandemic, and yes, uh, early ages are definitely very, very, crucial, because I think that is where parents play a huge role to create a safe environment for children. Not just safe environment, because I think when children go, finally when children, like, go out to the real world, they will be exposed to all sorts of people, all sorts of situations. So children should be given the opportunity to learn about the real world, but they should also be equipped with skills and necessary knowledge to actually protect themselves and bring the best out of themselves. Not like, creating a safe nest kind of a thing for children, and then once they are out of the nest and they just go out to the world, and they just don't know what to do, because they are not exposed to the real world, which can be cruel, which can be harm, which can be deceiving. So I think yeah, parents should keep a check and balance between this, like, protecting the children versus exposing the children to the reality. I think that's really crucial. So Ridhima, I think when we are talking about the book, and I think you have deep dived into, like, the a little bit of psychology, and why people go through
Yeah.
depression. And also, did you actually approach a therapist for yourself? How did it go?
No, actually, I didn't approach any therapist because it's been
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, personally for me, I didn't approach any therapist, and this was long back, so nothing like
Uh-huh.
that. But as I talked about an online survey which I conducted, so I had in contact with many of the people from the survey, and in that few people actually approached the therapy. And as I told my friend who suffers from severe depression and even considered suicide, I spoke to her like, how does the therapy go? And the suggestions, and with social media's help, with our online therapists to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So for that guidance and suggestions, I could write this
Right. So I think it is amazing that you are actually able to learn a lot of things about psychology, learn a lot of things about self help just by talking to people, and then working through it on your own, and to come up with a book is really something amazing. I would really say so. I also have another interesting question, which is. Um, During this technology era, where children, I mean, when I was growing up, I we didn't have the exposure to internet like until I was 12 years old, and then we were not exposed to like mobile phones and things like that until I was like 15, 16. So we studied without internet. It's all like blackboard and chalk, and that's about it. So now when you say that you're lonely, do you think that technology is separating children from one another?
definitely, but even social media, but it is
Uh-huh.
also good in connecting people. Like if you have an old friend, if you have
Uh-huh.
an old friend who you lost contact with from many several years, with social
Mm-hmm.
media, with Facebook or Instagram, you can get in touch with them.
Uh-huh.
So I feel that it helps to connect people more than separate them.
Uh-huh. Ah,
But
okay.
still, but still we do lack the like physical empathy or physical touch. But
Uh-huh.
like in COVID pandemic times, it's really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is good, but when you're saying about making friends and having not enough friends, and why do you think that, because this is also true, not just based on observation, but this is also based on studies and statistics. It shows that the younger generations, especially those who are born after 2000, they tend to be more lonely. They
Yeah.
tend to be more lonely, and they tend to isolate themselves more. So this is something that's very evident, and I think you also, I think, probably would have been born, like, after the 2000s. So why do you think that this happens? Because back then, when you see, like, in schools, we make a lot of friends, we talk to a lot of people, it's that's the way, right? But now I think the tendency to make friends has reduced. So maybe you would like to, like, share your experience as somebody who's from the younger generation.
Right. So when we meet people in real life, like in school or any outside, it's actually a good place to make new friends, meet new people, and
Uh-huh.
yeah. So when you go to school, you can connect to people who are similar to you, or else, and you can have that physical empathy which you feel that you lack at home or any other place.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think you are not getting, at this point of time, a lot of children are not getting it right. I mean, like, the opportunity to um, mingle with students, mingle with, um,
Yeah.
teachers. I think that's not happening. So right now, you are still, like, school going. So schools are, like, it has been uh, transported to online studies, kind of a thing. So tell us about the experience studying online. I mean, I know that, when it is online, I know you have friends. I mean, you can see your friends through the screen, but uh, what are the things that you miss most? I mean, going to school versus just being online. I mean, I know it has, like, pros and cons, but especially in terms of the interpersonal skills and all, what is the main thing that you're missing? You think that?
Right. When we meet people in real life, like you can have like if you're feeling low, like your friends can just hug you or something like that. But
Uh-huh.
in screen, and it's not always possible to connect to people to in screen. It can be due to the like internet technology, or it's just like your timings don't match. So
Mm-hmm.
connection to screen isn't as much as it is to no for a real life like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and in school also like people used to meet, people used to play games, people used to like get some
Uh-huh.
physical exercise, and that used to be like a different scenario. And online, like everything is like sit in the front of computer and
Mm-hmm.
just talk to it's like talking to a screen,
Uh-huh.
and many people don't respond in this online meetings also, which makes it more worse.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, I do agree. I think a lot of people don't respond, and a lot of people, they tend to, like, mute their mic, or
Yeah.
probably just go off screen, like, they don't turn on the camera. So we don't really know what's going on at the end of their side. So it's pretty sad, actually, to be living in this times. But what are the messages that you have for young people out there who might be in your situation, and what do you like to tell them?
Right. So when you're going through depression or anxiety, don't think like it's an end to your life. It's like indeed a new phase which is going to begin. Just like when a caterpillar thinks like everything is gonna end, but then emerges as a beautiful butterfly. But for that, it had to go to a tough phase of a cocoon. Same as with
Mm-hmm.
the people. And whenever like people feel that it's only me, everything happens to me, like depression or
Mm-hmm.
anxiety isn't like that. Almost everyone suffers to depression, and everything is a temporary in life, like even problems. So there are good times ahead. That is what you need to remember.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when you say anxiety and depression, I mean, like, what are the symptoms that you yourself had? You had, like, palpitations, or you had, like, racing heartbeats, or what? Or you tend to, like, go into a very monotonous kind of a mood, what were the things that really hit you hard?
Low mood, and like whenever any even tiny situation used to trigger you, and then you just start and then you just break down. So and then constant low mood,
Mm-hmm.
loss of appetite, like lack of sleep, becoming insomniac, those kind of.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Right. And is this you started having this only during the pandemic or even before that?
Pandemic, only during the
During the
pandemic.
mainly during to the
Yeah.
to the pandemic. Yeah, so I think definitely I think it's going to be really helpful for a lot of not just young people but also for adults out there to actually keep an eye on young kids out there, because of all this, that's, it's not just them going through this, but it's also the children who are prone to depression and anxiety in today's age and world. So thank you so much for joining us, Ridhima. I think a lot of people will be eager to watch this interview. I will be actually posting this on YouTube and also Instagram later on for greater reach, and Instagram is where a lot of people will actually come and interact. This is actually live on Facebook, so I will be cross posting the same video on YouTube and Instagram as well. I'm very excited to be sharing this on Instagram. I think a lot of people would want to watch this short interview later on. So, and I also thank BJ Level and Norman Mia for joining us. Do you know them?
No, not really.
Oh, okay. So I don't know them either. I mean, thank you so much for the two of you for joining us today. I hope that this session has been beneficial for you. I'm really glad to actually have people watching this, and thank you so much. I would like to talk to you maybe in the near future, about the same
Yeah.
topic as well. So maybe we will meet again. And for now, thank you so much for joining us, and I will see you again. And I will also see you in the next episode. So stay tuned for the next interview. And thank you, guys. Thank you all for watching, and thank you, Ridhima, for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.